monster. So crazy. Then here.
Yeah. Never fear, technology is here.
Oh, technology, my nemesis.
It's the first technology committee meeting of the year. I'm going to start with public comment. As a reminder, public comment. Pennridge School Board welcomes public comment. According to policy 903, we will remind everyone the following. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Unless otherwise specified by the board, participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than the individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments. To protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community, the board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students, or direct employees privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. As we can start off, public comments.
Yes, thank you.
How did I know, Sue?
Wild guess.
I'm sorry, I didn't look to see if there was any other public comments, but I'll answer.
Sue Furlong, West Rock Hill Township. Couple of questions. First of all, it's my understanding that the land system that you're looking at is for Lenovo only. It's not a generic system, therefore it locks us into a product, which means that we cannot go out for bids on other products. So I'm concerned about that particular aspect of tonight's proceedings. I'm extremely concerned about the middle school technology. It seems like we're headed down the road of giving a laptop to take home to our middle school students. As a taxpayer, I think it's nice, it's great, I voted for it. I happen to be on the board for the high school, and I believe that all 4 years is a good time for our students to learn how to use computers and all that. I believe it's to their benefit in the job market and at college. But to dip down and hand a $300 piece of equipment, plus, staffing and all of that for people who are 11 and 12 years old, is not a wise use of my money. It's the way I look at it. If they want to use it at the school and learn technology that way, get their feet wet, have adult teachers supervising the whole time, that's terrific. But it worked out at the high school because you buy the piece of equipment in the 9th grade and the lease expires 4 years later when they graduate, nice and clean and tidy. Now, you're going to ask me to buy 2 computers for every kid that comes through this school, starting in the 6th grade, and then buy another one in the 9th grade? No. I think I'm being very generous buying 1 laptop for a child to use in this school district, but for you to ask me to buy 2 laptops for every child that comes through this district, at that point, you're asking too much. Unless you want to go to a bring your own device situation for the lower grades. I don't want to buy 2 laptops for every student that goes through Pennridge. It's not fair to me as a taxpayer, and especially not fair to the people who are on fixed incomes, many of whom don't even have a computer because they can't afford it for themselves. So I think that you're going to get a lot of kickback on that, and deservedly so, if that's the direction you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, I guess we can start with Land School Classroom Management Software demonstration by technology guys, Dan
And James.
I'm sorry, I just saw Dan's name on there, so I'm like,
I'm sorry.
my bad.
James is not on there, and I do apologize for that. So I'd like to just frame what you're going to see here in a moment. At the last technology committee meeting, we did present, a proposal for more of a one-to-one model at the middle schools. One of the things that we heard from the public was a distraction level maybe for some of the students within the classroom. They might be distracted, there might be the teacher not knowing exactly what the student is doing. So we have a program here that does come with the Lenovo laptops that we have, that we can use for the rest of this school year and all of next school year, free of cost, that does this classroom management. So what we're going to demo here is what this would look like in the classroom. Not only will the teacher be able to see thumbnails of what everyone in their classroom is looking at, but there's also certain features where a teacher can black out the screen. There's features where the teacher can send a message to somebody privately, and the gentleman will show you some of those features. There's app limiting, there's web limiting. So there's some really cool features here. Dr. Scheid had reviewed it and got really excited about this. Could be kind of a game changer in the classrooms. We showed it to Mr. Rice, and he was of the thought that we should bring it to the technology committee here for, broader opinion. What we'd like to do if we have it, if it's well accepted tonight, is take it then to the principals and start to actually test it at the middle school level. So, and I'm gonna tell you that I'm losing my voice tonight too, just so you know. So it seems to be kind of a theme here, so I'm gonna hope I can hold on. Yeah, I know. So I apologize for that. So without me having to say anything else, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Dan Alexander, Dan Wade, and Mr. James Riley. So Dan and James work predominantly in the middle schools. They've worked really hard on testing this land school model. They've been kicking the tires, they've been tweaking, they've been figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to hand this demonstration over to the two of them. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we've been working on this.
Did you want to introduce yourselves? I don't know which one's James and which one's Riley. Dan.
My name is Dan Alexander.
I'm James Riley.
Oh, that's where Riley came from.
Right, yes. What you're seeing right now is basically what every teacher would end up having on their computer. This is kind of the dashboard for their students. So typically with a classroom of 30, you're going to see 30 panels on this display. And it's kind of like a real-time, shot-by-shot view of what your students are doing in the classroom.
Oh, cool.
And we did set up 3 demo machines. They're right up front. These act as like the student machines. So
Who's going to play on it?
You do one.
What, you want me to play on it?
Yeah, I want you to play one.
So we're gonna do different functions. You'll be able to see them on the screen.
yeah. So
You'll also be able to see them up here
Yeah.
too. So.
one of the big ones, as Diane pointed out, that I like to start out with is the blank screen feature. So at any point, if the teacher has all the machines out to the students and she kind of wants all eyes to the front of the classroom, with a quick click, you can highlight all your students and you can quickly just blank. And if
Eyes to the front of the classroom, please.
yeah, and then
Look at that. It says it.
and you can actually
Sorry, that's
customize your screen there, so it's nice. It locks the students out. They're unable to do anything from that point on until the teacher releases them from the blank screen. So I think that alone is a really useful feature, and I think a lot of teachers would agree. So I think that will be a favorite for sure. Another big one is the show teacher screen. So you can basically, whatever is up on your machine, on your teacher machine, say you have like a website that you want to scroll through and have all the students view that same website on their machines as well. You can highlight everyone again. You can do show, and you can actually do this 2 different ways. You can do a full screen so that they can't minimize it, they're stuck there, or you can do a windowed so they can kind of follow along and also do something on their own. So in this instance, I'm going to do a full screen. And now I have just this, basic, and on each machine there, you can kind of go along and on their machine they see the website that the teacher has up, and it's right in front of them, rather than if they'd rather own it than the projector or whatever the case. So I think that's a nice little
That's so cool.
feature there. Everything comes right back up there. And
Oh, and so when you disconnect, then it goes back to their screen
their
that they
screen.
had active prior to that, so they
Yeah.
don't lose their place on anything.
no, yeah, it basically just kind of puts a window over top of what the student was doing. And then, once they're done with that, they go right back to what they were doing before. And kind of on the same area there, you can all say a student you're going to go student by student, and each student has a PowerPoint presentation that they're going to present. Well, you can choose a student at a time. So say I choose this student, and I want all of the other students to view that student's screen. You can actually do show student, and I have this student selected. Click on them, and now all the students in the classroom are now viewing that specific student, so they can go along in the presentation, and So I have this student's presentation up on the board.
Easily amused.
So I think that can be a really useful thing. Kind of
Yeah.
keeps everyone, on the machine.
Is it sneezing?
Yeah, so there's some sound effects that it has to. We've had our machines muted for a while, so we just discovered the sound effects ourselves.
Oh,
So cool little features that we found out. Another good one is say that a student is having difficulty doing something.
Why did you point at me?
As the teacher, I can double click on that machine. And I can actually remote into that machine, and I can help the student do whatever is needed. Now, this,
That's
I think
cool.
that can be useful in a situation if, everyone's doing one thing at a time or doing the same thing, but one student might have an issue, and this teacher can stay at the desk on their machine, just remote right into it quickly and help out, which I think is a pretty cool feature
So
too.
instead of, say, like shouting across the room, click on
Yeah.
the little, they can just log in and click, and so this is where you would click next time.
Or having to get up and go to that.
Oh, I
student.
think that's great.
Yeah, it's a nice little remote feature, which I think will be helpful too. So that's the remote control.
That's very exciting.
These two are really useful too. So there's some limiting features. I think Diane touched on it a little bit. A big one I think is going to be limit web. So all teachers are going to have a little area within their console that they can do three things. They can block all web browsing completely, so for the day. Yeah, so if you're not going to be using the internet for the day and you're just using Word, Excel, PowerPoint,
I like
whatever the
that
case,
one.
you can do that.
That's really great.
Another really good one, so say you're starting a class for the day and you have 4 websites that you're going to have your students go to, and you're only going to use those, and you would like them to stay on those websites. You can do allow only the following websites.
Oh.
So I have a couple science websites set up here. So I can highlight everybody, and I can do limit web. And now if you try to go to another,
I'm gonna go to integration page.
Yep, it is.
Oh, I can go there.
so she tried to go to a different website, and what it actually does
Yeah, I
is
keep
it lets
trying
you
to.
know you're not allowed here, but here's where you're allowed to go.
Wait,
You
let's
can,
go to Facebook.
Sherry.
No, it won't let me.
yeah. So you can only
Don't
go
like
to the
Facebooks, that works
specific
out.
specific websites that have been chosen for the day. So I think that'll be helpful planning out.
That
You know,
is so
you
neat.
in the morning you can put that right on your console. Throw those websites right in there, and kind of limit where they're. And that's just I think that's a really really big one. And again with the blocking all web access. And then there is a feature on there as well where you can go in, and there are specific websites that you can block. I think.
So what if they wanted to go on YouTube to teach, to show them a tool or a video from YouTube that is useful in some
A
capacity?
specific video.
Yeah, but then no other YouTube things. Can
Yeah,
they?
you could point out a very specific URL. Like you
Okay.
could go to that YouTube video, copy that specific URL, and put that in the allow list.
And the allow
Mhm.
list.
And then it won't let you just while you're in that screen, click on other things within the screen and go to a different
Yeah,
page?
if that URL changes,
Okay.
then yeah, if that URL changes, or you can do youtube.com as a whole, and they won't be able to get to that website.
Oh.
So it's really flexible, and it kind of creates, just more control over, what's going on the internet in the classroom.
Was that the third thing? You said there were three. Was that the third?
The third was blocking
Blocking.
specific websites. Yeah.
Didn't you say that they can also, the teacher can send a note to a kid?
Yes, that's coming. Yes,
Oh,
that
okay,
is.
so-
That's on here. Yep. So let me just back out here.
I really like this.
Turn off web limiting for these
Can we
guys.
do this like with our children at home?
So another big one is, this is kind of the same deal, but you're limiting
Free
applications.
thing. It's not like this.
So like the limit web, you can also, in limit apps, you have a little portal here that you can either block specific applications or allow specific applications. So for the day, if you know that your classroom is only going to use Word, you can put the, word.exe, which is the path, and we're planning on setting all that up for the teachers so they know exactly what they'll have to use, what phrase they'll have to use to block. And then you can also I'll switch that to Excel here. So if I do that and apply, highlight everybody, and I limit the apps. From there, the only application that they will be able to access is Excel or whatever application that you
That you
choose. That's the only thing that they get into.
So basically, you close off all
Yeah.
other.
So what it does is, if you try to
So
get
try to go to
into,
Chrome.
Google Chrome,
It goes
it'll
browsing.
minimize that right away.
Up and then
That's pretty fantastic. So what did you allow for?
Excel is the only thing that should be.
And there's no, you don't have an Excel. Oh wait, maybe it's in your programs. Oh, here we go.
It's pretty cool. I think it's sweet.
Excel.
I had a
Excel's
couple-
fully functional. but-
When these guys
Challenge.
were demoing this, I had a couple questions. I said, as long as it's simple for the teachers to use, I said simplify it. So that make it Word, make it Excel available, and give them a template what they can use, the links.
Yeah.
That's all on the
trying to
teachers
go
that they
on
can figure it
something
out.
else.
Make it simple for the teachers so they want to use it.
Yep.
If they want to use it and it's easy to use, boom, they'll use it and it's simple. I like the lock and screen.
Oh,
As
no,
far as
yep.
screen time, you can say, okay, you got 15 minutes, this is what we're gonna do. Boom, lock the screens, the rest of the class, you got 15 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
And it's simple. You
Oh.
kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you're
really
getting-
cool.
I like
So
it.
I just tried to
Yes,
open
it's
PowerPoint.
slick. It is really
I mean,
slick.
even if it is, I'm not
Yeah,
sure if
it'll
it's
show you right down.
specific to
Yeah, but it'll
Lenovo,
minimize
it's something
it.
that we can at least baseline it, it's free for next year,
I
1920,
think
right?
it's gonna open
Yes,
it.
correct.
So 1920, it's free. If not, I'm sure there's more demos that we can test that would be broader than just the Lenovo
This is great.
laptops. So I mean, this is something that I was hoping that we would have. This is great. When I saw this demo, I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
This is something that we've been hearing from the teachers, and Kathy can attest to that, that there is, they don't know what's going on their
Yep.
students' computers, so this
Oh.
does help them. Wow. Just so you do know, this only works if the teacher machine and the student machine is on the same network. So
Yes.
there's no, you
Yep.
can't take this home and have a
And-
teacher creeping on a student.
Right.
Like,
That was
that's
the one,
not-
that was also one of the questions I brought up
That
because
is
of
not a
it was actually
capability.
2010 when Lower Marion School District was actually spying on their students from the
webcams.
from the webcams.
Yes.
So that was one of the questions I asked, and that is what the response was I got, so
So they have to be on
they
the
have
same
to be on the
network.
same network.
So-
Correct.
So I mean, I get that this is a free trial, but there's several, there's lots of different programs that do the exact same thing. And once people get used to using this one, if you come to them in a year and say, guess what, now we're switching to this other one, I think that's gonna be difficult. I mean, I'd like to look at what all is out there. Can we look at,
So,
do a comparison, because I think there are other ones that are little to no cost. I know we have some teachers that actually use different programs.
so
like
the
this.
actual cost of this beyond the 1920 school year,
Yeah.
it's by school, and it's $450 per school. So it is very reasonably priced. This used to be, it was owned by a company called Stoneware, and Lenovo took it over, so it wasn't just a Lenovo product. It was made by Stoneware, and then Lenovo bought Stoneware. So it does have the capability to run on other platforms. It's just tailored to run the best probably on the Lenovo, which, you know, works for us. But it does run on other platforms as well, or other hardware. So like I said, for this year, since it comes with the laptops, we thought we would test it and put it into some of the classrooms, test it in the middle schools at in a couple teachers' rooms, and then next year, hopefully, we can go a little bit broader with it, and then see where it goes.
That's a good idea.
Wait, you-
Are there other companies that are similar prices that do the same thing, I guess is the question.
I'm sure there are. I'd have to investigate them. Like I said, this was free, so.
Okay. But if we went to other companies and said, here's what's happening with Land School, could we test your program for the rest of the year for free and then bring 3 of them in to see? If they're all similar prices moving forward. Because you might find teachers go, you know, this one's cool, and this one also has 2 extra bells and whistles, and it's also cool. I don't know what those things are, whether they're all pretty much the same product, and so then it doesn't really matter.
We can certainly take a look at that.
Because if we're going to pilot it, which is what you're talking about for the rest of the year,
Correct.
to be able to bring in multiple options to just compare,
Yeah.
if they're out there. I don't know what
And there are.
is.
There's
My guess is
definitely.
if they're making money, there's multiple options.
I also don't know that when you say about having like a few people use it, if it's free, why wouldn't we just let everyone use whatever we're doing? Because, I mean, it takes like, this is simple, like, I feel like you could learn this in 10
It's a-
minutes.
it's
It's
a
not like
pilot.
it's not like we're rolling out curriculum.
I'll come back. From an IT perspective, it's a pilot, so you want to run it on a small scale. So a pilot, it means a small subset of users. You don't want to roll it out to everybody, so you can test it in a small.
Well, you can test the small
Define it.
group, but why not let everyone else have access to it?
Yeah,
Because I think it is a problem, it is a
that's
problem
how
that we
IT
have throughout the
That's
district.
just IT how it works. I mean, they pilot things in small groups.
Well,
Because
right,
there
but
will
normally-
be setup in this as well, so we have to import classroom rosters. So we've tested it on very small scale at this point. We have to make sure that we're okay moving it out to 30 computers at one time. So we haven't gotten beyond the 3 right now. So we really do need to just pilot it and make sure that we don't tell the teachers, here it is, and we can't support it, or it's not working out, or they don't like it. We have to make sure that we start small and that we can grow from there.
And plus
I
there's
guess
a lot
I
of
feel like
back-end.
if they try to use it and it doesn't work, then what did they lose?
So, but just the setup of it, we have to import all of the class rosters into it as well, so it's not like.
So
in
we have
order for this
teachers
to work
using
now-
it, but we have teachers using these kinds of things now. Are they just importing their own rosters?
I don't know what they're using right now.
I know, I had a conversation with a math teacher who uses something that does the exact same stuff that this does. And she showed me on her computer, so,
A math teacher at the high school level?
yes.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure what that is.
That's dangerous all by itself.
Yeah,
That's very dangerous to the network.
find out who the math teacher is.
Oh, to the net, through the
The
network.
person has permission, so it's not something
From
that,
the
the-
IT?
yeah.
From the head of IT?
yeah,
I don't know anything about it, so.
All right, well, we'll
at
talk
least
about
that's what I was
that
told.
offline.
Maybe that's.
So it's dangerous to the network because it could crash it, maybe?
You don't know what it's doing
You don't know.
behind the scenes.
It's not.
And it's just an
Good
agent
to
that
just-
runs on the
Correct.
workstation,
It's
so it's
just
a
a
small,
low
it's a
level.
low level,
Operate
it's a small
software.
agent that runs on it. It's not a client install, it's not anything, but a lot of the work on the back end is gonna be, what these guys are doing to customize it to make sure it's just Word, just Excel, just the applications they want. The teachers are gonna do most of the work as far as links that they're gonna use for their daily and weekly, agendas, so I think it's, it's something to test out, and that's what I'm saying, small scale, it's much better in a.
So we'll test it out in 2 classrooms for a year, and then when it's
Oh,
not
no,
free
whatever.
anymore, then we'll all
I
pay
mean-
for it.
That's not what I heard.
No.
Let's see what our options are.
I think it's slowly rolling
Dan,
out.
can you show me how you can leave a comment for a student? Because one of the things I'm interested in, I do understand the whole control and security piece.
Yep.
I am interested in how this can be an instructional tool as well.
Mhm.
In terms of my students who are working on individual projects, I can provide feedback to them separately.
Yeah.
So can you show me how you can go into a computer and leave them a note or write on their spreadsheet or, whatever what you're able to do?
Yeah, so as far as being able to go into and, like you said, write on their spreadsheet, I think the remote tool really works in that way, if you wanted to remote
And
in.
so when you do remote, you literally have control, which means if you click
Over
on a
there,
cell and
yeah.
change a number, it's gonna change the number for them.
Correct.
You can do whatever you want
Yep.
to their.
Yep, if I do remote control, I can click where I need to click and
you
make
can
notes.
Like change his 45 to some other number, then I'm gonna look at his screen and see that it's,
Yep, it's changing.
poor guy, 22.
So is
Okay.
is this where like, now if you were on mine, if you were promoted into mine,
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't both be able to use the cursor at the same time, is that correct?
It actually allows you to,
There's options.
yeah, there's,
way.
You
yeah.
can lock it or you can
Yep.
leave it open.
So we could both have a cursor?
And I have
Right.
to assume that the teacher does not have to choose for this to be their screen. They could go back and forth.
Yeah.
Because if the students are working and the teacher is also updating something, they don't have to be staring at this all the time. They could come and go from this screen
Right.
and have Word or web-based things as different
Oh, absolutely.
views. Okay.
Yep.
That is so
It's
neat.
got a lot of
Yep.
possibility.
And then the messaging feature, I think, can be useful. You can send a quick note to a student. There are things that we have to look at that with, there's a send anonymously checkbox, which I don't think is necessarily something that is necessary. There are a couple things that we have to look at with the messaging feature, but I think, if a classroom is working quietly and, whether someone's talking or whether, a student or a teacher needs to send a message just to remind or help out, you can type something in here and send that to the student, and they'll actually get that in the bottom right-hand corner of their screens, which I think I sent it over here.
It
Sure, yeah,
says,
no, I see. It's
question
red.
for teacher, enter your question to, oh wait, it just says message from.
Yeah,
but
message, it shows, and I just wrote test.
Okay,
And then,
yeah.
and then the student can then click that and respond back. There's also a chat box feature too. You can click on a specific student and then you can do a chat. So it'll bring up a dialogue back and forth. That's another option.
I cannot type.
So I think that can be useful in certain ways in the classroom. But I do think as far as going in and helping, that remote tool is really where it's going to come in
I
handy.
just work within a one-to-one setting with the students. The computer and the grouping of students is different every 42 minutes. And
Do you
so
get-
if I'm teaching 5 classes at the middle school level, I've got a different 30 computers in front of me now than I did 42 minutes ago. They just have to all be loaded in.
So that's where the
That's
roster
the-
comes in?
But what if one of my students from first period is right next door? Do you ever get that overlap problem that, all of a sudden their computer's still there because it's close enough to the access point, or is that literally not?
No, because it should be within the roster. So if I'm teaching period 2, I
Yes.
have one roster of
Oh, so you're
students.
calling up a period.
Oh.
I got it. That makes sense.
Oh.
Sure, right. You have to preload it, you call up a group.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Do you know,
The only oddball would be if
It's
the
not
kid from first
synchronized
period came to
yet.
second
Yeah,
period.
right.
Yes,
But
Not yet.
but you can
we won't deal with
add
every what if, yeah. that's-
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how.
do you know what in our computer labs right now, do you know what they use? Because they do have a program like this in our computer labs too.
I have to find out.
Because
what
I've
your-
seen English teachers also writing notes to people on like I could access Lisa's computer and read her essay, and then I can write notes to her thing.
Are they just?
I don't
Could be
think so. I think they
Google
could
Doc,
see
it
their
could be
screen.
Do you know?
Could be Canvas,
OneNote?
like we do have some options that do allow them to do that
To
without this
collaborate.
type of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a collaborative document, but.
I mean, James, you've been in the high school, do you know,
I don't know of any like this,
like this,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, Google
So it
Docs.
could be, I mean,
could be,
Google Docs
sure.
allows you to collaborate where you can
Mhm.
both be in
Yeah.
the same document at the same time.
Yeah.
So it could be
That's-
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure,
Okay.
so, but I'd like to investigate what you're talking
But
about, that's for sure.
we shouldn't be running unauthorized software.
No, we should not be.
Well, it was definitely off because the math thing was through the math department.
That doesn't mean it's
So it was
authorized.
not, it's not, like, people aren't just doing things they're not supposed to be doing. I'm not trying, so I don't want, for the nobody's doing anything they're not supposed to be
I
doing.
was just gonna say,
I knew this would soon be
Despite what
profitable.
And as soon as everybody, and as soon as they figure it out, it'll be clear.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
nobody's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. I'm wondering though too, like, I like all the extra features that this has, but why can't we still district-wide block video games? Like, why can't we just block, like, just like you can only access certain sites and you can block certain sites here, district-wide, we should be able to block all the sites where the kids are playing video
Do you know
games.
how many sites there are that are video games
yeah.
blocked?
you-
So
there's-
teachers, I mean,
It's,
so things are blocked,
This is a generation of hackers.
but
Within
it's
reason.
the
You gotta,
internet.
you gotta get
It's-
specific.
correct.
You gotta get 100% specific. If you're blocking URL,
Don't block
boom, boom, boom,
URL.
boom, boom. It's immense. If you ever have to look at firewall rules, you go crazy.
Can't you block things by category? That, like, does
Well,
it,
we
you have to put in
filter.
every single URL?
Filter
Yes,
Right.
stuff, but
we're filtered. Yes, we are
Did you play
filtered.
Snake on your TI-83 back in?
No, I didn't. I was a good kid.
You did what?
I was a good kid. I was paying attention.
Oh, my word.
Something that this also does allow is you can put keywords into block. So Fortnite, you know, so we have Fortnite blocked, but they find ways to get to Fortnite. So you can actually put like your reserved words, your bad words, whatever you wanna call it, words that it's going to search for. So the teacher can build a list, and if the student tries to get into something that this teacher has a list for, it will flag it, and it'll say, oh, no, you don't.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
it does flag it that way. So we are, so to answer your question, Megan, we are filtered, and we are filtered by category, but something like games is just an immense category, so it doesn't block, it has to be, in order for the filter to work like that, it has to be termed as a game. And there's things that just aren't, and they can get through. It's the
Maybe you
internet.
lose your PC for a day.
Well, I mean, they're not supposed to be on them, but for us
This'll
to be
help.
able to
This'll help
block
limit it,
every
so.
Yeah.
game is not, you know, that comes down to classroom management.
The only problem is now they'll just go on their cell phones and do it instead, since they can't do it on their laptops.
And what did you say the price was again after the
Free.
trial? It's about after the trial.
It's $450 a site license.
I like
is
free,
what-
if it's free. it's
$450
free.
a site, which is for 11 schools,
Yeah.
that's not,
Per
that's
site.
cheap
Oh,
actually
okay.
for what you get.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair.
Might take off the
It's
school.
free, are you locked in?
So you're talking 65?
No, they're just giving us the free for the rest of this year and for another school year.
But you don't have to take it
No.
out.
Oh, no, we're not locked in, there's no contract or anything.
So,
And I'm sure-
are there other things you want to demonstrate, or did you demonstrate everything you want to do?
I've demoed pretty much everything. The other couple features I wanted to mention, a big one actually, I think, is showing internet history. You can click on a
Yes.
specific student,
That was great.
That's neat.
and
Yeah.
you can quickly see what they've been searching in the past few days.
Within that day?
Within, it actually goes back pretty far.
You can check logs.
Or more
Look at it,
importantly,
at
what
least
they
a
said
week,
they were
at least a
searching and they
week.
didn't search.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So internet history is a big one.
So then they would actually have access to the things that students were searching for at home.
I believe it's just within the
No.
network.
Just in the.
Oh, so
network.
just while they're logged into the
Well,
network.
can we make sure
Yeah.
that's true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those are things that we'll absolutely make
I'm
sure
sorry,
that.
what was that question?
The question is, in terms of internet history and seeing what students, were using during your first period class over the last X number of days, the question was asked whether we could see their history from outside of the network
Okay.
and from home, and we're assuming that you cannot.
That's
Because my guess would be that you couldn't see what they were searching in third period if they're part of your first period class. Or could you?
I believe you could.
Because they're within the
History
network.
Because you're
Right.
on
So if they were after
our
school at
device.
basketball practice and they're still within the network
Right.
and they're searching something, we technically, we obviously have the access to that
We do.
as part of our agreement,
Correct.
but I'm just talking about in terms of easy access now,
Correct.
as opposed to an administrative access where we
Yes.
have to
Yeah, we can do that through the
get
filter
permission and
now.
things like this.
Oh,
Okay,
as well.
all right. We just need to communicate that very, very clearly to teachers and to kids,
Okay.
right, in terms of the
We'll have
rules
policies,
and what that looks
And
like.
we'll make sure to test that too.
So
What
can
is- what is
you take a look to see whether there are other products,
I
to
can.
see whether there are, multiple options of the same thing, that perhaps we could try at a small scale for the rest of the year, to think about what that then looks like in terms of providing training for next year, in terms of as it moves forward. Is that fair to be able to do that? And
Absolutely.
we'll just provide that
Yes.
electronically and links to other programs? To be able to
And
see.
I'm going to find out what other people are using.
We will all go to a different math class in the morning.
Oh, man. Charity watching this guy.
Let's see, what time tomorrow morning you want?
I shouldn't have been so specific.
Megan never used again for any of it.
Dan,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Good
you
job.
very
Thank
much.
you.
good stuff.
The two-star middle school checks here, so hopefully you liked what you saw. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Pleasure.
I am going to disconnect this one.
Thank you though for bringing, because this is a big concern that we've been bringing up multiple times, is the fact that the kids can be off on whatever and not paying attention,
I'd
so
like to limit
appreciate
this,
you guys
I'd
bringing
like
this
you can even
forward.
lock the screen time down, so we say, hey,
Yep.
we got 15 minutes to go over this part of the discussion, in 15 minutes, boom, lock the screens, rest of class, no screen time. Eyes up and pay attention.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Just stop, you're getting a lot of
And
pieces.
it's, again,
involved.
it's,
out there, but
Right.
we're excited
It's
about the
cool.
capabilities.
right.
Yeah.
And it's on trend with where education's going.
Exactly.
So,
I
Thank
mean,
you, guys.
It's secure when it's off-site, so you're not having to worry about webcams, anything like that, cameras from the people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about it. Dr. Scheid was really excited about it.
Then we
tech
need-
integrators
Then
were
we,
really
then we just
excited
need to
about it.
figure out how to make this school district a dead zone for cell phone service.
Yeah, how do you do
Unless you
that?
have Wi-Fi.
Something like this.
Well, they're figuring out how to use it, let me tell you.
Thank you, Dan, thank you, James.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks, guys.
All right,
So, very good.
on to the next one.
All right, this one is not as fun, okay? So this next
It's
topic,
technology, it's cool.
it's, of course it is, of course it is. But that was, we're excited about this too, so, yeah, absolutely. And again, I hope my voice holds out here, so. Yeah, I know, we're all fighting here, so I'm good, thank you. We're all joke on it. So back in December, I guess it was, I came to you with the middle school technology plan, where we are recommending to go to a one-to-one model throughout the middle schools. And you guys all had some questions, some really good questions, you gave me some homework, so I hopefully have answered some of those questions. And we just want to follow up again and see where we want to go with this and where we want to take this. So the first slide here is just a repeat, just to bring you back up to date, the recommendation for the 1920 school year to implement the one-to-one program, where we would have all the students assigned to a device. The students would take the device from class to class, and they would take the device home as well. The student would be assigned the same device all 3 years of middle school. The current devices that we have, currently we have the 6th and the 7th graders have devices. The plan would be to move them up to the 7th and 8th grade and to bring new devices for the new incoming 6th grade class. So we talked about the advantages of the one-to-one versus the current structure. What we're really hearing from teachers is not having the device all the time or having to have a shared device, they lose a lot of instruction time. There's a lot of logging in, logging out. A student doesn't log out, so then the next student has trouble logging in. It can take boot times long because maybe we've got 4 students who are still logged into the same device because they're supposed to log out, but they don't always log out. Teachers would have equal access to the technology across all the content areas. Right now, we have a classroom set in the core classrooms, so to speak. The specials do not have access on a regular basis to the technology, which kind of, impacts the way they can plan their lessons. They have to make sure they can get a cart. So that's one of the complaints that we've heard. Technology use should be part of the flow of teaching and learning, not a special event. Especially at the 8th grade level right now, so the old model, we're still using carts in 8th grade. And they have to sign out the carts, and heaven forbid there's a snow day, because it throws everything into, a tizzy, and nobody knows, their lesson plan is shot.
Oh, boy.
And then one of the last things for the one-to-one and for taking it home is the full integration of Canvas. So the middle school this year has been introduced to Canvas, which is the learning management system that's being used at the high school. So this way, that can be fully incorporated at the middle school level as well. So they can use Canvas in school, and then they can go home and they can do their assignments. Everything is available on campus to them for when they get home. So one of the things that you tasked me with doing was, what are other districts doing? It's always a great, excuse me, it's always a great barometer to, know what our neighbors are doing. So I pulled the Bucks County districts. I got a total of 9 responses, which is pretty good when you put something like that out. 7 of them are one-to-one districts, and 2 of them were non-one-to-one districts. So the question was, do the students take their devices home? And out of the 7 one-to-one districts in the county that responded, yes. All of them allowed the devices to go home, beginning in the 6th grade. Some of the districts are actually one-to-one, starting at K. Some of them start at 4, but it seems to be that they all allow them to go home in the 6th grade, so there must be something with that, responsibility level. Another question that I asked was, do you purchase an extended warranty or an ADP? And again, ADP is accidental damage protection. That we're kind of split here. We had 4 districts who said yes, they do, and we had 3 districts who said no, they don't. So the 3 districts that don't do their, they self-insure and they do much of their repairs in-house. And then I also asked, do you charge a fee? Because, we do charge a fee, a technology fee at the high school level. It is optional. This would be optional at the middle school level as well. And yes, every district, and even the non-one-to-one districts, charge a fee, a technology fee.
Okay.
So they range from between $35 to $50 a year, depending on who they are. One of the other things that we talked about was a protective case. So we said, should we purchase protective cases for the students if we go this route? I was able to find a case for $15, it's probably gonna be even a little bit less than $15, and it's actually a case, I should have brought it with me, I apologize for that. Yeah, the last one that we saw, which allows the student to put the laptop in from the top, so it goes in vertically, which is brought to us by Dr. Bolton and Central Bucks. So I looked into what Central Bucks was using, and it's a really nice case, actually. So the approximate cost of the case is $15, and that's the upper end. The number of students, if we purchase cases in the 1920 school year, the number of students is about 1,700. So to purchase a case for every student is $25,500. One of the other things that we talked about was, do we just purchase them for the 6th grade? 6th graders would get a case. 7th and 8th graders would be responsible for their own case. At 600 students, the total cost is $9,000 then. No matter which option, if we vote or intend to purchase a case, moving forward then, the cost would not be that $25,500. It would just be every 6th grade we would purchase the case for at the 6th grade level. So the total cost would be $9,000. So again, just a couple options to lay out there.
And are they required to use the case?
So the conversations that we had with the middle school principals and with Dr. Scheid's office, yes, we would like to require them to use the case. The middle schoolers do not carry a book bag. So part of the concern is that they're carrying their books and they'll carry their device in their hands. So if we require it, and it is the device that we're talking about is the device that you have in front of you now. So that is the device that the middle schoolers would have. So we're talking about making it mandatory that the case at the end of class, they put it in the case and go to their next class.
Okay.
So, and once I think you tell the kids, this is what we're doing, it just becomes routine and it becomes part of what they do.
Okay.
That's the hope anyway.
Do you want us to save questions for the end or ask as we
I'm
go
sorry.
through? No, you're fine. I just want to make, because I have a bunch of questions and I want to know if you want me to wait till the end. What's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Go ahead. Let's go,
You want to do them as we go?
Let's do them as we go, and then
Okay.
it'll be maybe more pertinent.
All right, I have a lot of case questions. So first, and this kind of ties into the self-insured thing too. So $90,000 was spent on the 4-year warranty for the high school.
Now, we didn't get there yet.
Right?
Do you want to wait?
Oh, wait. Well, you just said self-insured with the other. Okay, so half of them are self-insured and half of them aren't. Well, I'm going to tie the case thing into that. So I'll start with the case thing then. can we get cases that last 7 years? Because then they can use it through high school. Because one of the things that you and I talked about, or that you had kind of said to me, 11th grade had 101 claims. Out of those, 79 of them were a result of people dropping their laptops without having a cover on it. So don't we save a majority of our repairs by having those cases? And so at the high school level, then it makes sense. And already it looks like we're spending about 50% less on repairs than we're actually spending on the insurance. And so if we get the cases for everyone through the high school and we eliminate a majority of the repairs we even need, that drops that cost even lower and makes perfect sense then to be self-insured. And actually then we're even covering the cost of the cases in there by not paying for the insurance, being self-insured and preventing a lot of these repair problems, because we're already, it looks like, and I don't know because I don't have the exact numbers, I'm just estimating from the pieces of data that I have. It seems to me like if we get cases for everyone and become self-insured, we save money. Instead of spend more money for cases and insurance that we're not really even putting a dent in.
So, that was a
And,
lot.
and also, just while we're still on cases, I like the idea of kids being able to get their own cases and like, I think Lisa said last time, some people may want, the purple sparkly case. I like the idea of the kids being able to get their own cases for their laptops. They don't have to look the same. And then when everybody's laptops are, sitting around,
But
which
if it's
one's
a-
yours, because
and
mine's
if
the
it's a
one with the Garfield
requirement.
on the back or something,
And then if we make it a requirement too, then they have to have the case.
So
It's gotta have specific.
cases are different.
Yeah.
So, we want to be able to protect this. Are you talking a
Oh.
sleeve or a backpack?
A sleeve.
So,
Well,
I'm
maybe
talking about
it's
it for
something, you could get a district-approved case at free of charge, people sign up for. Or here's Amazon links, and these are the approved cases that you can go on and pick your own color if you want to purchase one for it.
But wait, what were you saying, Mr. Krause?
Thank you.
I missed
sorry.
it. No, I just missed it. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear, it's your voice.
It's your
I
voice.
really
It's
thought
very
he
hard
was
to
done
hear you.
talking.
I was trying to find out if this is a sleeve, and it is, and you're talking about them carrying this, because the computer at the high school is different. Does it fit in the same sleeve?
It should fit in the same sleeve.
Okay, now the next question is, I know from my own daughter, you couldn't have put another piece of paper in her backpack, let alone a computer. Okay, her backpack was wall to wall with books. So I don't know how you're gonna solve that, because now you'll have students carrying a backpack and a sleeve. And if you anticipate them putting this in their backpack and making it easy for them.
Well, I guess I'm confused because currently they're still carrying a backpack and they're carrying a laptop. Now they're just breaking their laptops because they're dropping them. And I'm saying, let's put them in a backpack, or if they're in a sleeve's not taking up more space really than the laptop itself is. So either you're fitting it in the school bag with the sleeve or not, right?
Just
If you
trying to
can't,
figure out-
well, no, I'm just at like, if I can't fit a laptop in my backpack,
That's what I'm
then
saying.
I can't fit the
Like,
laptop in my
never-
backpack with the
never
sleeve
can you
either.
put the
So,
backpack in.
so at least then it's protected while I'm carrying it, right?
Oh, yes.
And
I still think it should be of a design that we authorize, available in our bookstores, or available at our Spirit Wear.
Yeah,
So
and it
it's
has
gonna
to,
say on the
it's
Spirit
like a
Wear website.
required,
It's kind of like
Okay.
baseball,
Yeah,
you
like
We
have
need
a
to
required-
control what's being,
yeah. Like it's a
options,
required-
yes,
Option A,
but we
B,
need
C,
to
D.
control what's available,
Yeah.
so that it
And then-
provides
Well,
the
and
right level of
and do we-
protection.
that they met the requirement, right?
I'm a Swiss bag guy, so I paid
That's
for
what I
it.
have.
The Swiss bags last for years.
I don't know
They're
what that is.
$125, $150, but they last.
So,
And this is a
That sounds
Target
insane.
that I'm looking at, which is another big name.
Yeah.
So, and just to be clear, just because it goes in this sleeve doesn't mean it won't break too. So there'll
Yeah,
be.
that's true.
you
so
know,
should we be
Where you
getting,
drop it.
so I mean, we've gotta look at that. Should we be getting something more than a sleeve? I mean, should we be making sure that what we're buying is something that is going to protect the laptop when we drop it, or why are we buying it, right?
So it will protect it, but it's not going to be a total that
Not
it,
foolproof.
correct. It's
How
not
many times
foolproof.
have each of us dropped either our iPhone or laptop?
I was just gonna say, your
iPad?
phones are
You're
saying.
lucky.
And how many times
Phones are
is it
saying
cracked
exactly.
versus not cracked, right?
You get
Well,
just
and a
what
lot of
happens.
that,
So
if
if
you have
they
an
throw it out the
OtterBox,
bus
it
window,
never cracks.
But you have to
Now,
take it
Now, I
out
can
to use
disagree.
it.
No, you don't, an OtterBox, you can use it in the OtterBox.
I have broken phones in OtterBoxes, just confession.
What?
Good for you.
How?
Skilled
That's like
person.
impossible.
Uh,
Alright, well, don't give her a laptop.
So,
Don't give me a laptop. I've had 3 laptops.
So, and we did, at the first year of the one-to-one program at the high school, we did try the bags, if anybody recalls that. So we did purchase bags for all the high school students, and the bags were not a hit, to say the least. So the kids didn't carry the bags.
Right.
So I don't know if the answer is to buy a case, you know, from grade 6 all the way up to grade 12. I mean, it will fit the laptop because it's an 11-inch laptop, so the case proposed will fit all the way, you know, the 2 different styles of laptops. I don't know if we'll be as successful as in mandating them at the high school level, as I think you can mandate a little bit more at the middle school level.
Well, I think we can. I mean, we can mandate anything, but just like any other rules,
Bless
people
you.
can break them.
Correct.
And all your vital organs.
Bless you.
So we could potentially mandate it and then say, well, if you choose not to and it breaks, then, but then you have to follow up on, and then you almost have to investigate. So you would have to just require it. You know,
Yeah, I-
require it, and and I liked what you had said, where here's the options, you can, but it
Put it on
has
the
to meet
website.
this
It's kinda like-
requirement.
It's kind of like with baseball, you have a set of uniforms, and these are your apparel that you can buy. These are
Right.
what you have, that's it.
Right. But
A,
it,
B, or
and,
C.
and what you were saying is maybe that would then help us not have to pay for the insured.
What I'm saying
Sure.
is when I'm estimating based on the information that we have, how much money we're spending on claims versus what our warranty costs us, I can't imagine we're spending more than the cost of those claims is more than 50% of what the actual warranty cost is. And so if we're already at about half, then it makes more sense to be self-insured. And if 79 out of 101 claims are from people dropping them, it makes sense to me, it makes sense to me at that point. I mean, that's a high percentage, 79 out of 101. If you put cases on them, is it foolproof? No.
No.
But maybe 79 becomes 15. You know, maybe it becomes 2. I don't know.
drop it,
It
putting
depends
it
how.
in the
It
case.
depends if they drop it all the way down the steps or they just
They
you
throw
know
it out the bus
drop it
window.
on the carpet.
Or have their father run over it, we've had that happen.
And I don't think.
Oh, the poor guy.
And hopefully that's a
No
lot
cases
lower
gonna
than the
stop.
79.
No case is gonna
No.
So, and you
It's
can
not a
drop it
solution.
trying to put it into the sleeve. So there's that whole, that's stuff I would do. But I'm just thinking that it probably wouldn't be wise to not have any insurance because
Well, yeah, because
there's those moments that they're, you know, it
Well, no,
slides
but
off the
you
table
pay-
while they're using it.
you pay for let's say you're spending let's say you're spending $90,000 on insurance, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the claims over the last 4 years and you've had $50,000 worth of claims, then you've spent $40,000 more on this insurance than you actually needed.
Yeah, that's a really good
right?
point.
And if a majority of that $50,000 was from people dropping it, and you get them all cases, I mean, you save money by buying people cases that way.
So can we have like then like an analysis of you know, this option
Why
of
don't you move on
self-insurance?
to the
but-
next,
Yeah.
because you're getting
Let's
into
do that.
warranty
Yes.
Yeah.
and warranty and damages and, right?
So Megan, maybe I retract, let's wait until the end.
Okay?
Just because I think some of it, I don't know if everybody is as familiar with the presentation as you are. So maybe some of the questions will be answered as we go.
Okay.
I did not mean that disrespectfully in the least.
No, that's okay.
But, all right. So moving on to warranty and ADP costs. And again, ADP is accidental damage protection. This is the pricing for the 18-19 year that we're currently in. And this is the pricing, remember, for the middle schools,
And it's
not
for
for the
these,
high
right,
school,
yeah.
correct?
Remind.
So it's two totally different devices. So the pricing for the device, including a 1-year manufacturer warranty this past year, this current year rather, is $315. A 2-year depot warranty is $16 per device. Now that 2-year depot warranty really only gets you 1 extra year because you have 1 year that comes standard with the manufacturer. So they call it a 2-year warranty, it takes it out to the 2nd year. The depot warranty means that we mail them back to Lenovo. So when we have a problem with one of these computers, we call Lenovo, we get a claim number, we get a box. Because of the warranty, shipping is already covered. So we get a label, we send it back, it takes about 3 or 4 days and we get it back. If we go with the 2-year depot warranty plus the ADP coverage, which covers the accidental damage protection, it's $44 per device. So the difference between a warranty issue and an ADP issue is, a warranty issue is, in my
Something's
first year,
wrong.
my hard drive goes bad,
Yeah.
or my keyboard goes bad, or my trackpad goes
Yeah,
bad.
we need that with Lenovo.
That is a warranty issue. That means that the manufacturer, something did, the manufacturer warranty covers that. The ADP is above and beyond that warranty issue. So ADP is, I broke it, or oops, I spilled water on it, I shouldn't even have this water next to my laptop. So it's a spill, it's something that is done accidentally, ADP,
Right.
okay? So that's the difference of the coverage here. So a 3-year depot warranty, so warranty only, is $32 per device. So you see, it's basically it's $16 a year for the extended warranty. Or it's, if we're gonna go with the ADP and the warranty, it's basically $20 a year to give you that ADP coverage plus the warranty coverage. You can add warranty as we go along. We currently have a 2-year warranty on the devices. We can add that next year when we need to for $16, so I did verify that. You can't add ADP though. If you don't purchase ADP out of the gate, you can't add it. Because think about what you're asking. You're saying,
that's
okay,
true.
I didn't buy the insurance, but now I'm gonna buy it because I already broke it. So there are
Put in a
laws to
claim
that.
for a broken
So they
laptop.
don't allow you to do that,
Well.
you know?
Wise.
And I think you can sort of figure out why.
we know,
So that's the pricing that we paid this year. And again, the asterisk up there is the option that we're currently purchasing. So repairs to date, and this is where we start looking at, the devices. So these devices, we've only had 1.5 years at this point. So, these are new devices. We're not quite sure how they're going to hold up, but so far they have been really solid. You can see for what we bought in the 17-18 school year, so 1.5 years in circulation, we've only had 1.8% warranty claims. We've had some cracked drop screens, and we've fixed them internally. So I went to Amazon, I purchased, the screen, and the techs have fixed them internally. We've had missing keys where the kids have popped some of the keys off. Again, that's not covered by warranty, but we've fixed them internally. We've had some battery issues, some mouse keyboard issues, we had one speaker issue, we had an internal screen issue, which means there was a line down the screen that was defective, so that was covered. So 18-19, these new ones that we purchased this year, that have only been in circulation for a half a year, we've had less than 1% warranty claims. So, but you also have to remember that these students haven't taken them home yet, or these students haven't
That's
walked
why.
from class to class with them yet. So I think as we start to use them in a different capacity, and I'm fully recommending that we use them in the capacity of taking them from classroom to classroom and taking them home, we're going to see these numbers go up.
They're gonna go.
Maybe not so much the warranty, but definitely accidental. You're gonna see different warranty issues come up too, because they're going to be a little bit rougher on them, so even though, it's a warranty issue, that it'll be covered, just by the different and the amount of use, I think the warranty claims will go up as well. So I took a look at the high school warranty and ADP claims, and I went to the 11th grade class because we're in year 3 of those devices. And somebody had asked, well, where are we gonna be in 3 years, like how many claims? So I looked at the 16-17 purchase at the high school. So again, a totally different device. It's a beefier device for the high school. Down at the middle schools, they're really only running it, I mean, most of what they're doing at the middle school is online, or it's web-based. Up at the high school, they're using the math programs, they're using the science programs. They need a little higher processor, they need some more memory. So that's why I'm not trying to recommend the same device all the way through, because there are differences between the way the middle schoolers use it and the way the high schoolers are using it. So in year one, the claims, the warranty claims, you can see, and I don't have to read it to you, you can see the percent.